Good morning, everybody. My name is Basavaraju HM, HOD, Department of History, Maharani's Arts College for Women, Mysore, University of Mysore. Today, I will speaking on the social causes for the French Revolution of 1789. The most outstanding reason for the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789 was the social causes. There was too much of social inequality in the French society on the year of the French Revolution of 1789. The social inequality was directly or indirectly responsible for the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789. The social system of France was based on social distinction and privileges of the nobles and clergy. The social system of France was based on the principles of inequality. According to some European historians, the French Revolution was much less a rebellion against despotism or political inequality than a rebellion against social inequality. Some historian says that the French Revolution of 1789 is a purely social revolution in its nature. While the political conditions of France were unstable, our social condition was antiquated, irrational, and oppressive. The French society was broadly divided into three categories. There were three categories, three estates, three order, three groups in the French society on the eve of French Revolution. Namely, first one, the nobles. Second one, the clergy. Third one, the common people. The nobles and clergy belong to upper class in the society, whereas the common people belong to lower class in the French society on the year of the Revolution. The nobles and the clergy belong to privileged class, whereas the common people of France belong to unprivileged class. According to Karl Marx, history is the struggle between haves and have-nots. The nobles and the clergy enjoyed all kinds of facilities in the French society, but the common people did not have any little bit of privileges on the year of the French Revolution of 1789. The nobles and the clergy did not pay most of the taxes to the government. The nobles and the clergy were excluded from paying tax to the government. As a result, naturally, the burden was shifted on the shoulders of the common people of France. According to French proverb, the nobles pray, the nobles fight, the clergy pray, and the common people pay. According to French proverb, the nobles were to fight, the clergy were to pray, and the common people were to pay. So this is the social inequality, too much of social inequality. Luxurious life, aristocratic life was the day-to-day life of the nobles and clergy. Critical life, severe life, lamentable life was the day-to-day life of the common people of France, or third estate of France, or third order of the France. The nobles and clergy comparatively were a small class in the French society. But the nobles and clergy were the owners of the 40% of the total property of the nation. The government airports were hereditary rights of nobles and clergy, not of the common people. It shows too much of social inequality in the French society on the year of the French Revolution of 1789. In the words of H.L. Fisher, or according to H.L. Fisher, the French Revolution of 1789 attacked privileges, not property, not property, not property. So, the revolution was a rebellion against social inequality. There were two categories in the nobility, or nobles. One is the nobility of the sword. Second one is the nobility of robe. So the nobility of robe further divided into two categories. So the nobility of sword were also two. Nobility of robes had two categories. There were two categories in the nobility of sword. Namely, one is court nobles, and the second one is provincial nobles. The nobles, the nobility of sword, the nobility of robe, and provincial nobles and court nobles enjoyed certain privileges in the French society on the eve of the French Revolution. There were two categories in the clergy also. Namely, one is upper clergy, second one is lower clergy. Upper clergy enjoyed all kind of facilities in the French society, but the lower clergy did not have any privileges like common people. So there were three categories in the third estate, third order, or the common people of France. Namely, one is the middle class people, second one the artisans, third one is the peasantry. There were three groups in the third estate of France. Namely, one is the bourgeois or the middle class people, second one is the artisans, last one is the peasantry. Now let us discuss about the middle class people of the French society. Lawyers, doctors, merchants, traders, historians, teachers, bankers, industrialists, and so on were they were middle class people. They belonged to middle class. For example, the lawyers, physicians, bankers, teachers, historians, literary persons, and scholars, professors belong to middle class. The middle class people of France were very rich, progressive, and well educated. They were very rich. The middle class people were very progressive. The middle class people were very well educated. The middle class people came to limelight during the period of Louis XIV, who belonged to the Bourbon dynasty of France. The middle class people of France demanded for only political power and economic freedom. They participated in the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789. The middle class people never tolerated religious intolerance. The middle class people never tolerated maladministration of a Bourbon monarchy and maladministration of a Roman Catholic Church. They helped the common people. Second one, artisans. Artisans comparatively were very small in the French society. The artisans were living in cities, towns, and villages. They were very small class in French society, but there was no unity among them. They built their own guilds. Last one is peasantry. The life of peasantry of France was very critical, severe, and lamentable, because they were the economic backbone of the nation, but they had to face several problems in the French society on the eve of the French Revolution. A peasant had to work in the land of nobles, clergy, feudal lords, ministers, queen and kings from dawn to dusk or from sunrise to sunset. A peasant had to work for 5 days in a week without any wages, without any cooling, without any wages during the period of harvest. The peasants were helpless. Their crops were destroyed by their lord's hunting party. Government could not take any action against the hunting of lords of France. As a result, the peasants had to face several problems in the French society on the eve of the revolution. The peasant had to pay the taxes to the state government, the nobles, and the clergy. A peasant had to lead his life with a little bit of remaining income. As a result, the situation, the condition of French peasant was very, very critical, lamentable, or deplorable. So, because of food problem, to satisfy his hunger, he had to go to forest to collect fruits and roots. As a result, thousands of peasantry or lakhs of peasantry died of starvation. According to French proverb, in France, out of 10%, 9% died of starvation and the remaining 1% died of indigestion. So the French proverb is really wonderful one. In France, out of 10%, 9% died of starvation and remaining 1% died of indigestion. According to Abbesius, what is the third estate? Everything. What has it politics until now? Nothing, nothing, nothing. What does it desire? To become something. In the words of Napoleon Bonaparte and J.C. Herald, the French Revolution was a general mass movement of the nation against a privileged class. There were too much social inequality in the French society on the day of the French Revolution. Such were glaring social inequality in the French society on the day of the Revolution. So this social inequality paved the way for the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789. So in the next time, let us discuss about economic causes of the French Revolution. Thank you.